All right. Hello, YouTube. Thanks to everyone for joining. Today, I'm live streaming on Instagram and YouTube at the same time, so we'll see how that goes. And I want to talk about something that we brought up last week, and it's called the Open Source Lessons Project. It's free language lessons for anyone that are created by us, the community. It's open source. It's grassroots project. It's open to anyone who wants to participate. I live streamed about this last week, and so some of you are probably already familiar with it. I just wanted to share a little bit about what has changed since last week, because we've had a lot of participation from very kind and generous people. Whereas last week the project only existed in English and Spanish. It was only contributions that I had made for myself. The project now exists in English, Filipino. Actually, I'm not sure. The person who translated this said Filipino. I'm not sure. Is Filipino the same thing as Tagalog? Anyways, English, Filipino, French, Greek, Mandarin Chinese, Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, and Spanish. All right, so that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. That's 9 languages that our project exists in now. I'll show you here, and this is the actual library itself, by the way. It's a Google Drive that you can click on. For those who are on Instagram, you can follow the link in my bio if you want to check this out. Hey, Professor X, thanks for joining, and thanks for your contribution to the Portuguese portion of this. Oh, Haiti. Yeah, thanks for the Portuguese contribution you made to this project. Yeah, anyways, the link to this library of resources is in the description of this live stream, and it's also in my bio on Instagram. All right, so I'll just take you through English because English is the one that has the most content right now. It's divided into beginner and intermediate right now. I'd like to eventually add advanced. And that will be, just advanced stories for like advanced language learners, intermediate to advanced language learners who are trying to practice English or who are trying to practice, any of these other languages. And it'll just be a library of stories that they can read to practice their language. So the beginner one, it only has 1 story so far. This project is new. But if you want to write a story in English or in any other language, doesn't matter. If you want to write a story in Klingon, I'm open to that. Just send it to me. And I will put it in the library. There's a method for, going through this library. Again, the link is in the live stream description here. There's a method for going through this library. You scroll down past the example section. How you can help, and then submit your content here. And then, you just type in your email address, you type in your, what you want to be known as, and you type in, I'm writing an original story, or I'm translating an existing story. And then it'll send me an email and I will automatically add your content. Like I said, last week, this project only existed in English and in Spanish. Now it exists in 9 different languages, entirely based off of kind people who donated half an hour of their time to translate a story. I don't think we've had anyone contribute an original story yet. So if that's you, if you are feeling creative and you want to come up with your own story, excellent. I want that. And it doesn't have to be in English, okay? No matter what your language is. I see we have a Thai speaker now joining. I don't know how to pronounce that. Karopite, right? We really want translations into Thai, especially me particularly. I really want Thai translations of these stories because I'm learning Thai, right? And like I say all the time, comprehensible input is one of the best ways of improving your language, right? So, if someone out there is willing to translate some of these stories in Thai, again, link in my bio on Instagram. link in the description of this video on YouTube. Sorry, I know I'm missing a lot of comments here. I'm going to come back to those here in a bit. Let me see here. Speak Filipino and English. For now, trying to study Korean. Excellent. Speak German and Spanish. What's up, Fingtem? Asiatic Gold Mathematics says, do a live stream on phonetics. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to keep sharing this. Okay. So here's the website that you can click on if you want to contribute. Saluton, Marcos. Kiel vi fartas. If you want to contribute to the project, you can click on the link here. Again, the link is in my bio on Instagram. Marcos, if you feel like translating some stories into Esperanto, my Esperanto is definitely not good enough yet. But if anyone out there, Rafa or anyone who wants to, if you feel inspired to translate some of these stories into Esperanto, that would be excellent. Marcos says, mi ne vere povas spekti nuntempe, nur voli saluti vin. Dankon por saluti min. Anyways, I want to read a little bit about what this project is all about. Okay, so all right, the open source lessons project. I'm just going to read to you this description. You can click here. If you click this link here, it'll bring you just straight to the library with all the different languages. Okay, so this page is dedicated to creating a library of free stories anyone can use to learn languages. My vision is to facilitate a community of language lovers who can work together to create graded readers, that's beginner and intermediate level texts, audio stories, and videos in many languages. I think I should also add to this possibly comic books or picture books, right? Because those graphic illustrations, those visual aids are a good help in aiding comprehension. It makes input more comprehensible. And it's just a good help for understanding the story, which will in turn help develop your language skills. Okay. Research shows, and if you click this link, it'll bring you to some research by Stephen Krashen. Research shows that one of the best ways to acquire a foreign language naturally is to spend lots of time reading and listening to materials in that language, but they must be materials that are appropriate to your current level. The problem is that it is often hard to find lots of content that is easy enough to understand, but challenging enough to keep you learning. That's why my goal with this project is solely just to create lots of material so anyone can find material that they can read or listen to in their target language. Again, if you're joining, I'm going to keep mentioning this. Link to this website is in my bio on Instagram or in the description on YouTube. I keep mentioning that because new people keep joining, and I want you to know where to find how you can help with this project. Okay. You can see all the current stories and translations by clicking here, the open source lessons library. That'll just bring you here, and it'll show you all the different languages: English, Filipino, French, Greek, Mandarin, Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, and Spanish now. And it could be more languages if you are so helpful as to add another language, do a translation or an original story that you wrote. Okay. If you want to discuss the project and how you can participate, be sure to join our Discord server. And then, of course, if you click that link there, it'll bring you here to this Discord server where we're just having some discussions about what is going on in the project, how you can help, what we need to have done. Here you can see I posted the link to this live stream that you're watching now. I apologize to those who are watching from Instagram who can't see the screen that I'm sharing. I don't know how to do that on Instagram yet, but you can click the link in my bio to see the website I'm talking about. All content listed on this page will be free and in the public domain forever. If you are interested in joining the movement to help create free content for language learners, check out the information below. And I'm doing this sort of as a reaction against what I find to be the sort of prevailing mindset that in order to learn a language, you need to do lots of studying. You need to pull out a textbook and memorize all the grammar rules and the vocabulary lists. Okay, I am rebelling against that by trying to create this open source project that anyone can submit their own content. And rather than coming up with lessons that are dedicated to teaching you a list of rules in your language, it's lessons that are dedicated to giving you something to read, something to watch, something to listen to in your target language, which I will argue is a much better way to develop your language skills as opposed to trying to memorize grammar rules. Linguathor Frequency says, I think this is an amazing effort. Well done. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's not just my effort. This is a community effort. Like I said, I contributed stories in 2 languages, English and Spanish. And then we've had a huge outpouring of support of people coming in and translating stories into 7 other languages. And I imagine by the end of today, it'll probably be at least 10 languages. Okay, we don't have any translations in German yet, nothing in Esperanto or Tokipona yet. But I know there's people out there who are probably watching this right now who could translate into Esperanto or Tokipona. Nothing in Thai, which is something that I personally would love to have for my own selfish reasons. There's one translation in Greek so far for the beginner story, but not for the intermediate story yet, as well as, pretty much every language. I think French and English are the only one where we have intermediate stories. Okay, so this is an excellent translation by, what was her name? Servan. And as you can see, this is, it's not necessarily a beginner story, but it's pretty simple. It's intermediate. And so Servan translated that for me, for us, for everyone, for anyone who is learning French. I see Professor X says, I speak German. I'll do something. That would be excellent. Yeah, even if you're just translating the beginner story, or even if you're just contributing a new story, even if it's just a paragraph. Right, a beginner story can be just a paragraph if you want to write something for that. Sapida says, can we translate the English story to our mother tongue? Yes, absolutely. In fact, not only can you do it, that's the entire point. I'm trying to get everyone to do that. Take the English story, translate it into your mother tongue, or if your English isn't even that good, you could just write a story directly in your mother tongue. And it doesn't matter what your mother tongue is, right? I would love to have stories in, I don't know, in Urdu or Xhosa or Guarani or Quechua, right? This is not limited to Russian and Mandarin and Spanish and French and English, right? Whereas a lot of the big language learning resources that you find are only going to offer 10 languages. But this open source platform, the way it works is that anyone can contribute to content. That means we could have stories for people to read in 1,000 languages. If it gets that big, we're going to have to figure something else out because I'm not going to have time or the space on Google Drive to host that many things. But that would be an excellent problem to have. Here's someone says, I can do Urdu. That's excellent. That's exactly what I want. I want Urdu. I want Thai. I want, Hmong. I want to have, if you speak Latin or Sanskrit, any language, Klingon, whatever language you can contribute in, there's someone trying to learn that language out there. And especially if you speak Urdu or Thai or Algonquin or something that's less commonly studied, there's going to be people out there trying to learn that language who are struggling to look for something in that language, right? I can speak for myself learning Thai. It's hard for me to find resources to learn Thai. I can't just go to Duolingo. Okay. They don't have a Thai course on most of the big apps. And a lot of the Thai courses that they have aren't that good. Okay. Pimsleur has a Thai course, but there's only one unit. And so I finished it and then I'm done. And now how do I keep progressing in my Thai? Well, I can't unless I find something to read, something that I can do. So if you can submit content in one of these languages that's less commonly studied, it's not Mandarin or English or French or Spanish or German, that's excellent. And if you can contribute something in German or French or Chinese or whatever, that's excellent too. Doesn't matter what language. All right, and Septa says, doesn't it break copyright if we write some new stories in our language? No, there's no copyright rules against this because we're coming up with these by ourselves. I wrote the stories that are on here that people are translating. And so I give that for free to anyone who wants to use it to learn a language. If you write a story of your own, that's excellent. You just at the bottom of the submission page here, I'll show you where it goes down here. At the bottom of the page, you're just going to have to click, I acknowledge that the content I am submitting, story, translation, etc., will be made available for free to the general public. I give permission for this content to be spread freely online. Okay, so what that means is you're just giving us permission to spread this for free. And anyone who wants it can read it for free. And it won't be, we're never going to charge money for people to read it. In that we can't claim copyright to it later. Right. Okay. Esther, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it. Esther Nogueiram says, Portuguese, I can help. Great. That's perfect. We have one translation in Portuguese already. Let me show you this in here. There's one translation in Portuguese of a beginner story. So if you want to write your own story in Portuguese, or if you feel confident to translate the intermediate stories, here, if you go to the English portion, there's 2 intermediate stories. There's After It Came Part 1 and After It Came Part 2. This is sort of a series that I just started writing, just kind of off the top of my head. It's sort of like a post-apocalyptic story. I've been watching The Walking Dead with my wife, so this is a little bit inspired by that sort of genre. And it's not difficult. This is not something terribly hard to read. But it's maybe a little bit past beginner level, absolute beginner. Okay, and I have 2 what would you say, 2 chapters of the story, I guess. So this has not been translated into Portuguese yet. If you wanted to translate this, do a Portuguese translation of this, you can. I would love it if you did that. Okay. Now, also another thing that I wanted to point out. I'm sorry, I know I'm missing a lot of comments here on YouTube. The Portuguese is from Brazil. I believe, we have one Portuguese translation so far. I'm not sure if it's from Brazil or from Portugal. Rachel Saharis says, I'd be willing to write some stories in Italian. That's perfect. We don't have any stories in Italian yet. So if you wanted to write your own stories in Italian, or if you wanted to translate some of the stories that we already have up there, that's perfect. One thing I do recommend is using this sort of, wait here, let me share my screen with you again. Is using this sort of play style, just because it's very easy if you write it like a play. It doesn't have to be like that, but I just find that to be very easy for beginners who are already struggling to understand what's going on. So they never have to wonder who's talking or what's happening. It just makes it very obvious what's happening in the story if you use it as a play. Again, doesn't have to be like that, but it can be. Okay. Let's see, what else did I see here? Marcel Farkas says, I'm going to translate the water bottle into Hungarian. Excellent. Hungarian will be our 10th language then. And then if we get Italian and German translations as well, that would be awesome. Okay, Oli says, can we record audio about stories? Yes, 100%. I would love audio versions of these stories. In fact, that's one thing I wanted to mention, is that this is a new edition that was not here last week. But you notice how if you scroll down here, it says, how can you help? And then I say we need writers, translators, proofreaders, and narrators, illustrators, videographers. Because reading a story is great, but it's even more helpful if you can read the story in your target language and listen to it at the same time, especially read by a native speaker. So you get to hear how the language is spoken. All right, and this is something that's really cool that I wanted to just show you really quickly. Okay, here's After It Came Part 1. This is the intermediate English version. This has been translated into French, but there's no audio for the French yet. I did the audio myself for the English version. Also, here's different adaptations of the water bottle. Okay, there's the English translation, the Spanish translation, French, Portuguese. It also exists in Greek, a few other different languages. And my wife and I did a video of it. So we literally just recorded a video recording of the water bottle. See, you can go ahead and watch. It's just a video adaptation of what happens in the story of the water bottle.
Where did you put it?
I don't know. Can you help me find it?
See, it wasn't difficult. It was just two people sitting on in chairs and just reading through. Here I had my iPad. I was literally reading through the script of this play. And it's not Hollywood quality, you know, but it's enough for a language learner. Here you can see I'm in the tent looking for the water bottle, and then we're talking, and she says, you know, did you look in the truck? And I was like, yeah, I looked in the truck. And then she was like, did you look in the fire pit? And I was like, no, there's a fire in the fire pit. You know, that's the water bottle story, and it's just useful to people who are learning the language. So that's a video adaptation. If you wanted to do something like that, great. That would be excellent. The other one that I think is maybe a little easier, and that we could definitely get this for every version of the language, is adding audio. And you can see what I did here is, here's After It Came Part 1, the intermediate English story. And at the very beginning, I say, click here to hear an audio recording of the story. All right. And you click here, and it just pulls up an audio file. All right. And then you click play. And then you'll hear
After It Came, Part 1, Intermediate English by Thinkton Languages.
And then you just listen as you read along.
Kyle is a young man about 20 years old. He is walking through the woods with a portable emergency radio. He is listening to a radio broadcast as he walks. When I was a child, my mother used to tell me stories about monsters. I never believed them because I thought all monster stories were fake. But now, I believe the stories.
See, and then
Now
just goes through.
we all believe.
You don't have to do it fancy, like adding static to the radio broadcast or anything like that. If you just want to read through. And then I literally just went through this whole story, and I just read the story. So listen, I did both voices, the man and the
He
female.
looks at her leg. She has an open wound that's bleeding badly. Your leg looks pretty bad. Maybe I can help. Okay, thanks. He pulls out a cloth from his bag and changes her bandage. Where do you think the monster came from? Nobody knows. Some people say it came from the sea. Some say it came from underground. And some even say it came from outer space.
All right, and so you can see I'm literally just reading through the script here, reading both characters, Kyle and Jessica. It's not hard work. I just read through and record it, and I record it, nice and slow, because this is designed for language learners. It's designed for people who might not be able to listen perfectly. So I record it nice and slow, and I try to speak relatively clearly, and then I just read through the whole thing. And then, I can see someone's already watching this right now. And then if you go and you record yourself speaking, and you record yourself narrating the story in your native language, hopefully you're native, then you send me the audio file. I'll just put it up here at the top of the story, so someone can literally listen to the story as they're reading. And this is a huge benefit, okay? Because you're learning to connect the written words with the way that they sound. All right, and like I said, I have an audio recording of this in English, which I recorded myself. Here's, so this is after it came part 1, intermediate English. This has also been translated into French, like I mentioned, by Servan. I think that's her name, Servan. Yeah, and après son arrivée, première partie, intermediate French. Okay, and she did an excellent job translating this. I was very pleased. I read through this, and I was able to understand everything. And to me, it seems very natural. Someone might go through and find some corrections. Here's someone right now. Looks like someone's adding comments, which is awesome. Okay, so the problem is, though, this doesn't have an audio version yet. I don't personally want to record an audio version of the French story. I did it in English because it's my native language, but I don't want to record the French version because I have an accent. I would rather have a French person or Canadian or Haitian or someone from Africa, someone who speaks French as your native language, record it, records the audiobook, the audio recording. All right. And so that way someone can read through the French version and listen to the story as they read it. And even if 2 people wanted to record the same story, okay, let's say we get someone from France, someone from Quebec, someone from, from Algeria, and someone from Haiti, and they all want to record the story, then I'll just put up here, I'll put, click here to listen to the story read in Quebecois French. Click here to listen to the story read in Algerian French. Okay. This is a community effort. It's a grassroots thing. All right. This is like an open source. It's like, here, I'll show you over here. I use GIMP this program is called GIMP. I don't use Photoshop because I am too cheap. I use this to create all the graphics for my channel. Okay. This is created by a community of people. I don't pay anything for this because there's just kind people out there who are willing. They know how to code computer programs, and they're willing to make essentially what's like I consider to be a pretty good free knockoff of Photoshop. And then I get this software for free, just out of the kindness of kind people who were willing to donate their time to make this. That's what we're doing here. Okay. I spent my time to write this story. Servan spent her time to translate the story into French, and some other kind soul out there will spend their time to do the audio recording of this story. So someone gets the listening practice as well as the reading practice. Okay, it could even be 2 or 3 people who donate their time to do that. Sorry, I didn't get very much sleep last night, so I'm trying to drink my caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I like tea. Out of my Learn That Language mug. There you go. Anyways, let's see. I know we have questions here that I'm missing. Rachel Harris says, I like the concept of audio since I have trouble writing French and Italian. Yeah, exactly. And that's something that anyone can contribute. All right. It doesn't matter if you don't consider yourself to be eloquent, storyteller. Like, you're not creative in writing, but you can read a story. You can record yourself reading the audio and contributing it. Here, Off the Wall says, wow, this is an awesome idea. I'd really like something like this for Thai. Exactly. Hey, I've been saying this all along. If there's someone out there who can do a translation of the story into Thai, please do that. Okay, Miranda says, hey, the Discord server link in the page is not working for me. Does anyone have a link to join? Here, let me share. How do I share? Here. Server settings, invite people. All right, I'm going to edit invite link. Few people have mentioned that it hasn't been working for them, so I'm not really Discord savvy. Here's a link to Discord. Okay, I'm putting that in the chat right there. Okay, Alan says, the good point of this project is that we are learning a lot of translations or writing, even if we pass for our native language. Good evening, Pronoun. But yes, no, I agree 100% with, who was it that brought up Thai? I would really love for this to be translated into Thai. So if there's anyone out there who speaks Thai, especially fluently, that would be great. Joanna Mañares says, count me in, sir. I am willing to help. Excellent. So whatever your native language is, if you just click, I have a link down there that says this is a link to the library, the open source lessons library. All right, here are 9 languages that this has been translated into so far. If you can go to one of these languages that you happen to know, and here's Romanian. Let's say you speak Romanian. And you want to translate it from Romanian into, let's say, Hungarian, or I don't know, Ukrainian. You just copy and paste the story, and then you just translate it, and then send me the copy here on the website page. You scroll down, and you just go to this little bubble here where it says submit your content. That's where you can. That's where you. Oops, I'm going to reload this page. You just come down, you put your email in there, so I know where to thank you. You put your name on here because I'm going to, this one is translated by the architect, right? So just give me whatever name you want me to give you credit for. And then you just mark, what, either you're writing your own story, or you're writing a translation of a story, all right? And then, you just right here, you just leave me a link to the story. Now, this is what language is then, and then you leave me the story here. A lot of people have just copied and pasted their story right into this field, which is okay. What's really best though is if you can send me a link to a Google Doc, as long as you share it and make it able for me to access it, right? Like if you link to a Google Doc, make sure you grant permission for anyone with the link to view it, because otherwise I won't be able to access it, and then it'll just take a little bit longer. And then you just acknowledge that you're submitting this translation for free, and it will be free. Like you don't claim, like intellectual property rights. Like you are willing to give the story away for free to the public, for the public good, so people can learn languages. Here we're getting new people in the Discord chat. There hasn't been a whole lot of discussion in the Discord group yet. So, but if you have any questions or whatever, you can go straight to the Discord chat. Okay, now I want to read a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you guys couldn't see what I was pointing to that whole time. Okay. Anyways. I want to talk a little bit about how you can help. I went over this last week. Septa says, can we write stories from books? Well, this should be either original stories or translations of stories that are already free and in the public domain, designed for beginners, which if you find something like that, then great. We can translate that and we can share that. But the reason I wanted to create this, project is because a lot of the language learning stuff that is out there is either you have to pay for it, right? Like you have to pay for Thai Pod 101 or French Pod 101, right? Like you have to pay for. Here, I had to buy this book, and it's easy. It's designed for beginners who are learning Thai. See, it's not difficult, but I had to pay for it. This is free for anyone who wants it. And you can find stuff that's very old and in the public domain that is not copyrighted, that you don't have to pay for. But then that's usually pretty advanced and not designed for language learners. So the point of this project is we're going to create free free reading material and listening material that anyone can use for free, and it's designed for language learners. It's not advanced. It's not like a, it's not Don Quixote, right? It's something that's designed for people who are just beginning in their language, and it's designed to be for their level to help them develop their Spanish or develop their French or Farsi or Sanskrit or whatever language they're learning. Okay, here's how you can help. This project will require the collaboration of a lot of different types of people. No matter what your skills are, you can help in one of the following ways. Number one, writers. Write short stories designed for beginners or intermediate level language learners in any language. Okay, if you are creative and you can write a story, doesn't have to be anything great, right? The water bottle story is just a story of people walking around looking for their water bottle. It's very simple. Okay, be sure to use beginner or intermediate level vocabulary. That's what I did in the water bottle, right? It's, hey, where's my water bottle? Did you look in the car? Yes. Did you look in the tent? Yes. Did you look in the bathroom? No, gross, right? It's repetitive. It's easy. It uses simple language. In my opinion, it's best to format beginner stories as a play, as this simplifies things and always makes it clear which character is talking. To submit a story of your own, you can use the form below. This form right here, where it says submit your own content. Okay, let me just make sure I'm sharing. All right, here someone says, I have written a story in Tamil with translations. I will send you in Discord. I was busy due to my college exams. Hey, yes, excellent. You can send it either on Discord or even better if you submit it through this. If you go to the website in the website in the description, and then you click here where it says submit your content. That's where I'm going to receive all of the submissions. Okay, so that's if you're a writer, you can write a story of your own. Okay, send me a link to a Google Doc. That's the best way to do it. If you put your story in a Google Doc and then send me the link with already formatted and everything, because especially if it's a language I don't understand, like, for example, I don't speak Romanian, and it's possible I could format this wrong. Like if I put, I don't know, like, if I put a line break in the wrong spot or something like that, because I don't speak Romanian, I'm just kind of guessing. Like I can recognize the names and then put those in bold, but it's best if you can format the story yourself, unless it's in Spanish, French, or Esperanto, in which case I would be able to do that. Possibly Thai too, possibly Greek. Okay, that's one way you can help, is by writing your own stories. The second way you can help is if you're a translator. If you want to submit a translation of a story that already exists in our collection, you can use the form below. Same form right here. Okay. I will accept translations in any language. This can be a huge help to those who are learning languages with few resources available. For example, I'm trying to learn Thai. It's just hard for me to find books written in Thai that are designed for beginners. All right. With an open, 3, proofreaders. This is really important. With an open source platform like this, mistakes will inevitably arise. If you can submit a correction to any of our content, please do so. There are 2 ways to do this. Number 1, submit your correction via the submission form below. All right, you can put a correction down in here, and then you just click, I'm making a revision or a correction to an existing story. Okay, that's one way to do it. The easier way probably is number 2. Each story will be stored on a Google Doc with commenting enabled. If you wish to make a small correction to a story, you can just leave a note and a comment on the Google Doc itself. So for example, here is a Google Doc. All right, let's say you find a story, you find a mistake right here, right? You highlight that portion, then you just click comment. Okay, then you just leave a little comment. I think this is a mistake, right? It should be ... and then you just click comment. Okay, and then I'll see that, and I can either approve your suggestion or deny it, or I can ask you questions about why you think, right? I'm going to delete that comment though. Okay, so that's how you can leave a correction if you see one, if you see something that needs to be corrected. All right, that's proofreaders. Either submit your correction in the form here, where it says submit your content, or submit your correction on a comment, right? Just click comment in the Google Doc and then add your comment. All right, number 4. Am I still showing you my screen? Yeah, okay. Number 4, narrators, illustrators, videographers. Let's just not stop at stories that are written, but let's bring them to life with narrations, with videos, with comic book style, graphic novels. Okay, I've mentioned this quite a bit in the past. I love using graphic novels for learning a language because the pictures help you understand what's happening, even if you don't understand 100% of the words in the language. Okay, because the words might be hard to understand, but if you see the picture that explains what's going on, you'll understand the word. And then you'll get to understand the word based on context. Marcel Farkas says, do you want beginner but native texts or make it really easy but unnatural? Let me see where I get this from. Do I want beginner but native texts or make it really easy but unnatural? Okay. So I'm okay with beginner texts being sort of unnaturally simple. For example, I'll show you a good example here. For example, here. Source lessons, English, intermediate, after Cam part 2. Okay. For example, because this is made for beginners, I wrote, it is morning time. Okay. And if you listen to the audio recording of this story, you'll hear me say, it is morning time. As a native English speaker, we're almost always going to contract that and say, it's morning in the forest. Okay. Rather than it is morning time. But because it's for beginners, I just felt like it's totally fine to not contract this and just say it is morning time. It doesn't have to be totally natural. I'm not of the opinion that you need to take in language learning content that is natural the way native speakers actually speak all the time. Okay, as you get more progressively advanced in the language, then it becomes more necessary. But you can feel free to sort of take the liberty that you want to take on that. Okay, whether you're going to make it very basic and very much designed for beginners in a way that's not entirely the way that you would speak to a native speaker, that's okay. If you want to translate the story more in a way that's in alignment with the way that people actually speak, but maybe a little bit less easy to understand for a beginner, that's okay too. There's some leeway there. Okay. Anyways, narrators, illustrators, and videographers. We won't stop at just written stories. I encourage you to create audio recordings, comic books, and videos of our stories. If you create an audiobook or a video of one of our stories, please leave a link to your creation in the submission form below. Okay, so for example, like I said, up here, we have a video adaptation of the story. Okay, this is just the water bottle story. And it shows the two characters sitting, right? Let me turn this down. As the two characters sitting and discussing the lost water bottle. Okay. And it's kind of a dumb, it's just a dumb video, but it doesn't matter. It helps you learn. And then you just send me the link to your video if you post it on YouTube or on on Google Drive or whatever. Send me a link to your video and I'll put it here. And then I will share a link to it in the actual story itself, right? So if you look at the water bottle story, oops, let's change that account. If you look at the water bottle story, what's going on here? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You can see right here, it says, for a video adaptation of this story, click here, right? And then if you click on that, it'll bring you to this this video of us reading through the script of the video, of reading through the script of the story. Okay, so you can watch the video as you read the script. All right, that's very beneficial in a lot of ways. If you want to create an audiobook, just all you do is very simple. You just go through and you read the story like I did. Okay, then I'll put a little link up here that says click here to hear an audio recording of this story. And then you can read along as you listen to the story itself. Oops. This is not working right now. I have to refresh the page in order to listen to it. Okay. What else did I have to say? All right. If you want to turn one of our stories into a comic book, just send me a link to the PDF. So if you're artistic, if you can draw, if you are good at computer illustrations, or if you're good at formatting, and you can create a decent visual representation of the story. Hola, Rodojus. If you can do that and send me a relatively decent quality graphic adaptation of the story, then I will post that as well, and then we'll have a graphic novel, a comic book of the story. I mean, now if you know how to draw, or you know how to do art somehow, like here's my drawing. I don't necessarily want to post comic books that look like that, but oops. If you have any skills with that and you want to contribute, let me know and send me a link. Okay. On the example page here, I have, you can see I have listed, let me make sure. Okay. Yeah. I have listed a few different versions of the water bottle. There's actually much more than this now. I just have 4 different translations listed here, and there's nine translations, maybe more. Maybe people have been submitting content since this live stream started. But here's just some examples on the website page. Here's also so far the After It Came story is translated into 2 languages, French and English. I would love for this story to be translated into more languages. I suppose I could start doing a Spanish translation of it. Of course, I'm not a native Spanish speaker, so if there's a Spanish speaker out there who feels like you could do a translation of the After It Came story, all you do is you go to English, go to Intermediate, and then you click on After It Came Part 1, After It Came Part 2. If you can translate both of them, if you can even translate just one of them, that's great. Spanish would be excellent. Again, I'm going to keep harping on this. If anyone out there speaks Thai, or if you can translate into Thai, I would love you. If we could add a Thai folder to this to this drive, that would be very beneficial for me. We already have Chenyol's wife translated this into Greek. You can see she even did a little bit of special editing here, right, where she colored the female speech into pink, so it's even more clear when the girl is speaking as opposed to when the male character is speaking, right? Oh, this was I forgot to list her, give her credit on here. Normally I try to give the person credit. That's why I have a little form right here. It says put your name or your alias so your work can be credited to you. My name is Aaron, but I don't know, for some reason online I usually go by Finktem, so I put my name Finktem there. If you don't want to go by your real name, if you want to use some kind of alias or an online screen name or something, I'll give you credit through that. So just real quick, content, that if we're going to write original content, wait, actually before that, let me just take a look if there's any questions here. Okay, Matthew Donovan says, Aaron, I just found your channel a few days ago. You're my hero. Thanks for contributing to language learning. Hey, Thanks. That feels great to be, it feels great that I'm just able to help so many people learn languages, and help spread the message of the right way to learn languages. Part of this came about because I just had some sort of negative interactions with people on Reddit a few days ago who were saying, the best way to learn a language is through reading through a textbook. First, you read through a textbook and then you start practicing the language, because then you have a good basis based on the textbook. And it's like, no. You're never going to make it through the textbook, right? You got to start using the language first. Start using the language as soon as you can. And you use the textbook as sort of a backup to help you progress through the language. But that's secondary to engaging in the language in a way that's actually helpful and fun and meaningful to you right now. Okay, a few people here. Off the Wall says, I wrote a story in Thai using new vocab that I've learned, but I'm sure it's full of errors. LOL. Hey, Off the Wall, if you're still watching, I realize I'm slow on. Here, you're back. Off the Wall, or you're still here. If you share that story with me, I will post it, and then I will whether you want me to give you credit or not, if you're like nervous about there being errors, I will post it, and I will just say up front, there's probably errors in this story. Is anyone able to proofread it? Okay. And I will post that to the Reddit Thai page, where people are actually usually very helpful. I guess you say Reddit language learners are really pretentious. Yes, they can be. They can also be very helpful, especially if you're showing an interest in learning their language. They can be very helpful. So I will post your story to the Reddit page and say, can anyone please help proofread or correct this story? And I will post it to Hello Talk, on which people are extremely helpful. People are always extremely eager to help me learn Thai on Hello Talk. So please, I beg you, if it's not too much to ask, if you have a story that you wrote in Thai, by all means, submit that to the website, or send me an email, send me a message, whatever. And our community will bring that story up to a level where it's quality content that can be consumed by someone trying to learn Thai, like this guy. Okay, Cool Jumper 31 says, I think that you should learn a new language using your learning style. It's effective that way. Yeah, I'm not here to claim that I am the owner of the only way to learn a language, but I do have experience failing at learning a language. And I know a lot of people who have failed learning a language in school using textbooks and using the traditional methods. And I just can't live my life allowing people to keep failing. Of course, people will continue to keep failing, but I have to do something to try to spread the message of the better way. All right. And of course, try out every way for yourself. Okay. Don't just blindly listen to what I'm saying, but try a new method as opposed to the one that has been failing in schools. Honestly, how many people do you know who have tried learning a language in school and graduated without being able to speak anything in that language, right? This is a method that has a proven track record of not teaching you to speak a language. So just give these other methods a try. Elena Saluton, Elena. She says, I've also watched you succeed at learning a language as well. Yeah. And again, I've learned what methods don't work for me, and I learned what methods do work for me. Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean that the same thing will work for me as what works for you, but at least it's a good clue. Okay. And, I have learned Spanish, French. I have developed in my Esperanto a lot. My Thai has come a long way in the last year. And all of this comes after about 7 years of trying to learn Spanish in school and failing. For 7 years, I started learning Spanish in 8th grade. I studied Spanish every semester of high school, and then for my first year of college, and I still was not able to speak Spanish, right? So then I changed my method, because if you keep expecting the same results, what is the saying? If you want the same results, keep doing the same thing that you've been doing all along. But if you want different results, try something different. So that's what I did. And I found a method of learning that works for me. And it involves very little. I will say this. I own textbooks. Okay. I own textbooks. And on occasion, I pull these textbooks off the bookshelf and I look up, hey, what's that one thing that I learned about Thai grammar? Oh, yeah, there it is. And then I put the textbook back and I go back to practicing Thai with human beings, or practicing Thai by reading books. Okay. The way that I learned Esperanto was almost entirely by interacting with other human beings online, other human beings who speak Esperanto. Hey, we have a Thai speaker. She says, "Sawadee ka." Sawadee ka. If you want to translate any of our stories into Thai, I would be very grateful. Anyways, I'm not saying you can't own a textbook or that you can never look up a grammar rule. Not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you want to develop your ability to communicate in a language, it takes a lot of practice trying and failing to speak the language. It's a process of learning something, trying to use it in conversation, failing, getting laughed at sometimes by native speakers who understand how you said it wrong, and then trying and doing better the next time. Not just I before E except after C, I before E except after C, I before E except after C. Okay. Someone asked what the Esperanto book is. It's called Complete Esperanto. Teach Yourself Complete Esperanto. You know how much of this book I've read? Maybe 10 pages total. Okay, so again, I'm not saying textbooks are the devil. What I'm saying is it can be really easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your textbook is going to lead you to fluency in the language if you're only diligent enough to make it all the way through the textbook. And I promise you, I guarantee you 100%, you guys, I'm not making this up. If you read through the whole textbook and do nothing else, you will not be able to speak any of the language in that textbook. Okay? You can read through the textbook and get some good hint, like it might make some connections that you didn't make on your own as you were practicing the language. But by and large, the way that you're going to improve your language is by practicing using it. Talk to other people, listen to music, read stories, okay? Listen to podcasts, listen to the way people actually speak using the language, and then make attempts yourself to use the language. Are there original Esperanto books? Yes. There's lots of original Esperanto books. Oops, looks like my live feed on Instagram ended. Maybe there's a limit of like an hour. I don't know. I'm not an Instagram person. But anyways, I'm still live on YouTube. So that was my long rant that I didn't intend to get into. Okay, anyways, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to spread my message of you can develop your ability to use a language simply by using it, by practicing using it. Okay, and that's what we're here for. I'm here to give you content that you can read and listen to in your target language and start to get exposure to it. Start to listen to the way that native speakers sound. Start to read the sort of the syntax patterns that native speakers use in conversation. Yeah, Elena Fenomena. I'm sorry, I can never pronounce that. Says so many at Davy. There's a huge amount of original Esperanto literature, and a few of those are easy enough for beginners, but not that many. By the way, if anyone is interested in learning Esperanto, you should definitely follow Elena Fenomena on Twitch or on YouTube. Elena, do you have a YouTube channel? She was my Esperanto teacher in NASC last year, and I really appreciated her style of teaching because it wasn't sit down in a classroom and memorize grammar rules, which we did some of that too, and that's okay. It's not going to hurt. But in Elena's class, we played games in Esperanto. We sang songs in Esperanto. We memorized song lyrics. We communicated with each other, and we interacted with other human beings in Esperanto. And that is my philosophy in a nutshell for how you should learn a language. And lots of readings. I am a big supporter of comprehensible input. That means reading things in your target language and listening to things in your target language, which brings me back to the point of, this entire live stream. Can you see that? For those who are new, I know people are signing in and signing out. So you're not going to watch this whole live stream all at once. But the link to this website is here it's in the description of the video itself. Okay, so if you go beneath this video and look in the description, you can find the link to the website, the link to the Discord server, and the link to the language lessons library. Oops. Let's go back. The open source lessons library. Okay, right now we have stories, videos, and audiobooks in 9 languages. Well, I should say right now we have stories in 9 languages. We only have audiobooks and videos in 1 language, English. But I'm hoping for that to change. If you can read French, if you're a native speaker of French, or you have a really good French accent, and you want to go through and narrate the story, this is a story I wrote. I wrote it in English. Servan translated it into French. Someone else can participate and help the community out by doing a audio voiceover. You just read through the story, and then I will take the MP3 of your recording, and I will put it right here where it says, click here to hear an audio recording of this story. I mean, I'll put it in the French version, obviously. By the way, if you're interested in this sort of genre, the water bottle is a pretty kind of dumb short story just designed for people who are learning languages, like who are very beginner-ish. And it's just a story of people who are going around looking for a water bottle that they lost. After It Came is a little bit deeper. This is a post-apocalyptic thriller designed for intermediate learners. The story takes the format of a play because this makes it extra easy for beginners to understand which character is speaking and what's happening in the plot. All right. It's just the story of 2 characters who find each other in the woods, and there's this monster running around wreaking havoc in society. They don't know who to trust. They're hiding out in the woods. It's I think this came on because my wife and I have been watching a lot of The Walking Dead. And so, I don't know, I think I was just sort of inspired by that to write sort of a post-apocalyptic story. It's a bit of a bottle thing. What do they call them? Bottle episodes, where just 2 characters talking back and forth about what's been happening in the story. And I think I'm going to try to release a new chapter of this book, maybe like every week or so. I doubt people will be able to translate it that fast. Well, I mean, I suppose, if I release a new chapter of this story every week, and then someone is just an avid reader and willing to help and just translates the story every week, it's not more than 2-3 pages per chapter. That would be very helpful. Here, yes, we're getting a lot of people joining the joining the Discord server. So if you want to discuss any of this here on the Discord. Okay, but I'm missing a lot of comments. Davey says, can you pass me the link? She says, I have a YouTube channel for Esperanto, about to start an active Twitch channel, mostly in English. Okay, cool. Maristela Araujo. Sorry, I'm not. A lot of times when I read on here, I'm not entirely sure what language to read it in. A lot of times I'm like, is this Portuguese? Is that Spanish? Okay, she says, I'm ready to put the adjectives in the right position, English/Portuguese. Ha ha ha. Good. Okay, Elena Fenomena says, I go by Elena Fenomena on both platforms. Excellent. On Twitch and YouTube. Good. Again, I highly recommend, this is a plug for my excellent teacher, Elena. If you're interested in learning Esperanto, go check out her channel, her Twitch or her YouTube. I guess she's saying her Twitch will be mostly in English now. Anyways, here's Off the Wall 10 says, I think I could translate the water bottle into Korean. Perfect. We don't have any Korean yet. So just today, oops, let me go back here. Just today, I've had people offer to translate stories into German, Italian, Farsi, no, Urdu, German, Italian, Urdu, Korean. I haven't seen anyone offer to translate it into Thai yet, but if someone can translate this story into Thai, just look how easy this story is. You know, it's even if your Thai isn't that great. Oh man, someone here is making a lot of corrections. Okay, I see what they're doing here. This is a translation into different story. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy here. Make a copy. Okay. This is, what language is this? Turkish? I'm just going to make a copy of it. And then in the original version, I'm just going to deny all of these changes. Okay. Anyways, so the story is very easy. Okay. It's a very easy story to read. Here, I'll show you like in the Romanian one. Here's the Greek one. Like, look how short it is. It's not even, the story is about 1 page long. It's just very easy. 2 characters talking back and forth. A Tina and O Aaron. You know, and of course, this is the Greek version. The English version is very easy to understand. It's just, where's my water bottle? I don't know. Where is your water bottle? I don't know. Did you look in the truck? Yes, I looked in the truck. It's not in the truck. Did you look in the tent? You know, that sort of thing. James says, I can help with Spanish, French, and English. Yes, please do. Marcel Farkas says, I've made a big mistake. What have I done? You know, it's no big deal. What you can do, though, I made a copy of that. And so I will just go through and approve every correction you made. Marcel Farkas says, I actually submitted the right one, so don't worry. Hey, cool. Yeah, I will go ahead and approve that after this video. Okay, so I might be able to get my native Thai-speaking friend to translate the water bottle into Thai. That would be awesome. Oh, someone said there's already a translation of After It Came in Intermediate Spanish. Actually, you're right. Actually, I forgot about that. Yes, there's a translation of the first one. There's now 2 chapters. I just wrote the second one yesterday. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if someone wants to translate the second copy of it, that would be excellent. Spanish. Sorry to protein links. Is that how you say it? Protein links? Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot you translated that. That's my bad. But Yeah, I forgot. There is a translation of the first chapter, not of the second one yet. Okay. Okay, let me see. I'm going to go through here. And we got a lot of tabs pulled up now. Okay, we're gonna just sorry, I'm working through some of these corrections that I'm going through. Anyways, for anyone who is interested in helping, whether that's writing a story, translating a story, making corrections to a story, or doing an audio recording of a story, even doing a video adaptation, if you think you're into, if you're into like cinematography and doing, just short films, that would be greatly appreciated. I should talk to Alexo Miller from Exploring Esperanto. He does a lot of Alexo Miller does a lot of short films, and he's pretty good. He's like I think he studied acting in school. So anyone who has any experience like that, if you want to. Okay, so Protein Links says, am I saying your name right? Is that Protein Links? Says, I'm already translating the second part. Beautiful. We're getting more and more translations into more and more languages. So just so everyone's aware, if you we're going to start translating the second part of the After It Came into Spanish. That's already happening. So you have some competition if that was what you were planning on doing. We haven't had any double ups so far, though, so that's good. And even if we did have a double up, I think I might list both of them. I'm not sure what I would do. We would figure something out if two people translated the same story into the same language. Okay, so Needy says, Aaron, what if a word is completely foreign to the target language, like marshmallow is completely foreign word in Hindi? That's fine. So what would you say in Hindi if you had to talk about a marshmallow, right? Like if someone was speaking Hindi and they were talking about their trip to America where they roasted marshmallows, and you were telling that to a fellow Hindi speaker, just what would you say? Maybe you just transliterate the word for word into Hindi. Not word for word, but maybe you just transliterate the sounds into Hindi. Otherwise, maybe instead of marshmallow, you say candy or something, or they're roasting food over a fire. Do what you can. All right, Mirat Yigit. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. If I can figure out, I will translate to Turkish. Beautiful. That's what I like to hear. I love people coming on and telling me I'm going to translate one of these stories into language X, whatever language it is. To learn with texts, do I have to help with something? You mean in order to use the texts? No, this is free for anyone to use. You can share these stories as widely as you want. It's free for everyone. It will always be free. There's never going to be a paywall or anything like that. This is a community project that we're working on together. So you don't have to give anything in order to receive. If you just want to go on and read stories in different languages, that's what this is here for. If you want to give back in some way, and if you can, and like I keep saying, everyone can help in some way. You can write a story in your target language, in your native language. You can narrate a story in your native language. If you are bilingual, you can translate a story into a language that we don't have yet. Okay, you could, you can, if you're an artist, you can draw illustrations of the stories. You can do something, but you don't have to. Okay, this is no obligations. The stories are there free for you to use so that you can have a more effective way of studying your target language. And if you are so kind as to help by contributing to the project in some way, then excellent. I've already had some people tell me that they've been using these stories already, like literally already within the first day of posting this, of publishing this project. I already had people saying, "Hey, thanks so much. I used your story in my Spanish lesson with my Spanish students." yesterday, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. It's already helping people. Do we have any other questions? Man, I love the enthusiasm for this project. Okay, I'm going to close out of a lot of these tabs that I have pulled up. And do we have any other questions? I'll wait for a few more minutes if anyone has questions. Otherwise, I'm going to Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry, did I go quiet for a second? Okay. Let me pull up the website and submit your content. Responses. All right, we have, let me show you. Here, I can already see lots of these are just new submissions that people have submitted, new contributions that people have submitted since we started today. So new translation in Russian. Oh, I'm sorry, that one was already there. We have new translation in Filipino after it came. We have a submission in Hungarian. Beautiful. This is our first submission in Hungarian, so that's our 10th language. And another submission in Hungarian. Perfect. So anyways, great. Thank you very much, Marcel, for those submissions. That's a huge help. Okay, Yasmin says, this is a great project, man. Thanks. And then we have, sir, will you approve the access first before we can proofread? Proofread, what are you talking about? The Filipino one? Let me see. Did I not do that yet? Let's go to open source lessons. Filipino? Is that the one you're talking about? Sometimes I think I forget to change it to you will be able to comment. Leave comments. Let's go to share. Anyone with the link can comment. Okay, yeah, that's another thing. If okay, I just changed it there. So you should be able to comment and make corrections on the Filipino or Tagalog. I'm always confused. Is Tagalog the same thing as Filipino? Are these the same language or are they different? Someone can answer that in the chat. There, yeah. If you go to any story that if you go to any story that here, I'll show you. So if you try to comment on one of these stories, also, what is a translation of the word water bottle? Okay. There, I can leave a comment. If you, for some reason, can't leave comments or suggestions, then what I need to do is go to here. I need to go to share, and I need to go to change from anyone can comment. I need to change it from anyone can view to anyone can comment. Okay. So if you make it through this, if you find something you want to correct and you can't, just let me know, and then I'll go through and I'll change that. Okay. Okay, here's the translation of Botelia Ning. Oops, I didn't know I could do that. Botelia Ning Tubig. I have no idea how to pronounce that. If you could just all right, Elena Fenomena says, love this project. Thanks so much for creating this, and also thanks to everyone who participates. Yes, I agree. Thank you a lot to everyone. Okay, Joanna says, Tagalog and Filipino are somehow different. Gotcha. Thank you. That's good to know. Okay, Yasmin says, since Portuguese is my native language, I could try to record some audio someday. Beautiful. You would be only the second person to contribute an audio recording to this project. So that would be very good. So far, I believe I'm the only one who has submitted an audio portion. And anyone, that seems like something pretty easy to do. If your native language, if you speak natively one of the languages that we have up there, you can just go through, read an audio recording, just do it on your phone or something, record an MP3, send me the link to the MP3. I will embed the link to the MP3 in the text itself so that anyone will be able to listen as they read. So I'm going to end the video here because I have to pee. I drank a lot of tea and a lot of water during the course of this video. Anyways, thanks so much to everyone who has helped. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in the Discord, leave a comment on this video, go on the website, leave me a comment. Thank you all for your help, and thank you for the contribution that you are making to helping people learn languages.